We are recording from the ashram of our revered Guru Pujyatman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda in Miami, Florida. Today is the 28th of October 2018, and on this Sunday evening, Swamiji will commence the Satsang with a Sanskrit prayer.
Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
And now for a devotional song. It was written by the mother of our ashram, Sri Swami Lalitanandji, and will be sung this evening by Swami Umananda, accompanied by Rajneesh. It is entitled Adorations to the Devi.
Adorations to the Supreme Compassionate Devi, who is incomparable in her power. May you bestow good fortune and goodness in the dwellings of your devotees. May you grant us peace and prosperity. Namaste. Again and again, salutations to the Devi. Your exquisite beauty is like the rays of the moon across the far open sea in the night. May you bring us joy and harmony. Namaste. as the intellect in all. Oh, today we bow to you again and again. May you bestow upon us eternal freedom. Namaste.
So once again, recording from the ashram of our revered Guru, Pujaatman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda in Miami, Florida. Swamiji continues with the lecture series on the Srimad Bhagavad Gita this evening. This is series 2018, lecture number 19. And now our revered Guru, Pujaatman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda.
Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadugurum. Oh, adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, bestower of immortality. Srimad Bhagavad Gita in chapter 2, which is entitled Sankhya Yoga, the Yoga of Wisdom. The verse number is 69, coming to the close of this chapter. And what you are being led to understand is the goal of life, or the ideal to be attained. And naturally, question arises, he who has attained that ideal, how does he sit? How does he walk? How does he talk? And a lot of insight we have already given. And we're in 69th, we're coming to a more profounder understanding. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagarti sanjami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato mune. That which is night to all beings, in that the self-controlled sage wakes. But that where all beings are awake, that's night for the sage who has realized the self. To take it very simply, they will adore the owls. When they are awake, all people are asleep. When people wake during the day, owls sleep. But move away from the humor. Turning to the profound understanding about the purpose of life. Why do you live? What's your biggest attainment? And try to have a good grasp. To summarize in a simple way, scriptures have presented 4 purposes of life: dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Dharma, ethical value. Ethical value, if that is not the foundation, then your movement does not have the joyous Sri Ganesh. A movement blessed by Ganesh, speaking a mystical language. That movement leads you to liberation. Life you live with real fulfillment if you have the foundation. But foundation or any attainment I talk about is a progressive movement. So you have to go on focusing on dharma. How can I be based on dharma? Next purpose is artha, resources, material resources, that's what people understand. And all that, whatever resources you now gain should not contradict your dharma. Then your resources, wealth is considered the best resource for masses, but resources are your intellect, your body, your strength, and many things. All those resources will come to you in abundance if you are strengthening your dharma. Dharma holds the key to profound nourishment in the growth of your personality. Third is called kama. Kama refers to fulfillment of desires. And it relates to how do you deal with human beings. It's called vital value of life. And finally, moksha. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Moksha is the ultimate goal, where dharma attains its infinite dimension. You began with the idea of righteousness, and that righteous movement climaxes in absolute revelation. I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am the absolute self. Let me put in another way. There are two ways to go for every individual. One is called preya, another called shreya. Preya, that which seems comfortable. And that's comfortable means following your life based on your whims. Ego-directed life that fills your mind with lots of ideas. Where can you find preya, happiness, joy, pleasant situation? You open the Google and find lots of places. And you plan out your life. Oh God, give me a long life so I can at least go to 2,000 of those wonderful places. But I'm giving you simple way to understand. Now, prayer, of course, you have to understand all that people desire. Putreshana, you desire to perpetuate your presence in the world through your progeny. That again is a big illusion in your mind. I will not go into details. You must realize that. Your soul is not satisfied simply because your sons and great-grandsons and great-great-grandsons, their future is full of wealth and material comfort. That type of attainment is not real satisfaction for your soul. That's illusion. But that's what putreshana, mind goes after. The idea of establishing a wonderful family, securing sons, grandsons, and so forth. Vitteshana, focused on wealth. Lokeshana, focused on going viral. That's the worst virus working in the mind. How to go viral. This, people remain awake to these points. That's what ears perk up when you hear these things related to these things and success and attainment. Perks up your ears. You are jagrat, awake. But when you start hearing about vairagya, the things that are pleasant, they are not really so. Sarvam dukkam vivekina. All that you have been thinking about, putreshana, vitteshana, etc. Sarvam dukkam. Oh, painful. If you have not turned your attention to attaining liberation, then all is painful. Because wandering in illusion. And viveka, another shocking type of experience. I'm not the body. It's worked so hard. Go to your parents, say, look, no more adorations to mother and father. I'm not the body. So not to hold on the idea that you have done great service to your baby. I'm joking, but it is a simple way to understand. Same vivek, vairagya, they are profound attainment, profound wealth of the soul. But if you don't have that spiritual vision of the goal of life, then the mind is not aware of those values. See, as if you are in sleep. But those who are spiritual seekers, they become more interested in those values, vivek, vairagya, control of mind, devotion, attaining serenity, developing inner strength of faith, triumphing over adversities, and ultimately attaining enlightenment. These are the highlights of your spiritual. But at mass level, you present that highlight to any university. I will not say anything about it. You will be thrown out. I'm joking. I'm joking. There are universities and there are people who do value these. So masses are asleep to these profound attainments that anyone can achieve. Rather, every individual is born with that urge to attain enlightenment. Soul's ultimate urge is to attain liberation. Everyone wants Satchit Ananda, everyone wants to exist, everyone wants to be aware of everything and attain liberation. Let me give you another way of understanding. If you live your life devoted to sadhana, spiritual practice, which has two aspects, antaranga sadhana, bahiranga sadhana. Bahiranga, how to live your life being good and doing good to others. And in that bahiranga, you allow all things needed for the health of your body, for disciplining your senses. In Raj Yoga terminology, yama, niyama, asana, pranayam, pratyahar, all these are bahiranga. And antaranga, mind acquiring focused state, one-pointedness. And moving to meditation, where focused state becomes continuous, uninterrupted. And coming to the third state, expansion in your consciousness. Because you are always gripped by your mind-based understanding. And the mind-based understanding is very limited. It has a little circle. And within that, your mind's understanding lies. It's big. But your mind, to give you simple illustration, mind-based knowledge is very similar to what you get out of your computer-based knowledge. The computer touches the whole world. But what type of information, what type of lesson you want to learn depends upon your fingers and your mind. So, human mind is confined to www. Who, where, when, or why, where, when, whichever way you like. So I was talking about antaranga sadhana. Antaranga means go beyond the limits. But mind googles up, enjoy it, learn from it, use it. But don't stay confined to it. let your mind simply move away and allow mind moving away means clouds move away and your sun shines. State of enlightenment is not a result of karma. Result of karma is within the realm of your computer, within the realm of your limited mind. This point is also important to understand. Karmic based change that occurs in you. You had small amount of money, you were poor, now become rich. Previously lived in ordinary type of house, now you live in an elegant palace. Changes occur led by karma. Lots of changes. And in that karmic process, no matter how much change have occurred beyond your imagination, yet there is no satisfaction. That's the general characteristic of what you can achieve through karma. Karma can be good karma, can be negative karma, of course, will not give you anything positive. But what you consider good karma or intelligent karma, even that karma will not lead you to the ultimate goal. This doesn't mean I'm discouraging you from good karma. Good karma will create more sattva, and therefore you will have more choice between these 2 points, going after just pleasure or going towards higher, transcending the world of pleasure. That choice will become possible if you do good karmas. So, as you spiritually advance, you are more and more awake to that sadhana progress, antaranga and bahiranga. Externally, how much you can become controlled. Internally, how much you can advance in your meditation, etc. And both are always together. Your head deals with antaranga and your hands deal with bahiranga. And both remain always. But both have come into a different stage of transfiguration. That's the state of one who is enlightened. But one who is not enlightened, both are defective. Bahiranga, they don't know where, how to discipline the senses and for what, how much, and how to discipline the mind, antaranga movement. I will not lead you to much detail, but there are lots of imaginations. Even people who study about mind and controlling it and attaining siddhi, there are voluminous works that can give you so many ideas of attaining so many types of siddhis, including knowing who is cooking what. I'm joking. But all this interest in these siddhis and powers, that means you are not awake to your deeper reality. You are owl, hullu. So while people live the owl type of existence, sages live swan type of existence. And it's possible for everyone to choose between the two. You can't stay with both. Now, let me give you some more understanding. If you become increasingly awake to your higher values, then the world you live in becomes relaxed. You are not constantly on your nerves, watching what is going to happen. You can do that with the TV, see the news breaking, but don't break your head out of it. So there is a famous saying, Vipado naiva vipada, sampado naiva sampada, vipad vismaranam Vishnu, sampat narayana smriti. The mind of one who is enlightened or moving towards enlightenment, that mind does not interpret adverse situations as adversity, but interprets those situations as godly designed loving tricks. And look back, it is through adversities you have learnt a lot. So, do not let your mind suddenly sink into negativity by smallest little frustration in life. Rather, build up that inner strength day by your prayer, your japa, your satsanga, not to be shaken, but face the challenge with patience, with love of God, and wait and watch. And watch and see how the challenging situation moves away and turns into something of a blessing. Dark cloud that was obstructing the sun may suddenly begin to shower. Same sunlight now pouring through the cloud like a grace showering over you. Scene changes. Vipado naiva vipada. Adversities are not adversities. Sampado naiva sampada. And what you think prosperity is not really prosperity. Vipad visvaranam Vishnu. What is prosperity? Is mind moving towards God. That's prosperity. And whatever takes your mind away from Godward movement, it may look adversity or prosperity in practical realm. Whatever takes you away from God, that is real adversity. So adversity and prosperity have to be viewed with a mature mind, spiritually mature mind. Immature mind, anything that doesn't please you, even though it is something that good for you, that's called adversity. Anything that pleases you, even though it is just spiced up story being told for deceiving you, I'm talking. But then it's considered, oh, wonderful, what a wonderful person I met. So while the world sleeps, don't worry about the world. Focus on waking up. Awaken yourself more and more until you are fully awake. 70th verse. Apuryamana achala pratishtham samudramapa parvishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam parvishanti sarve sashanti mapnoti na kama kami. A moment of suspense. Just as waters from different rivers enter the ocean from all directions, and yet the ocean remains immovable, in the same way, he in whom all desires enter, without affecting him, he alone attains peace, but not he who is desirer of sense objects. This voluminous work has been condensed in this statement. The highest state of attainment, that's liberation. Every attainment can be described by your mind. If you become rich, you can describe it, how rich you are. If you gain any type of popularity, you can describe it. But attainment of enlightenment, that's beyond speech, because the mind has no language. Because whatever mind brings out, it relates to time, space, causation, W. First, follow the simple way to understand. So many rivers bring the stream of water, they themselves enter into the ocean. Imagine people become so excited when their loved ones suddenly come to celebrate your birthday. And you watch through the window, a whole group is coming, 50 of them. And we become so happy. An ocean sees so many rivers shouting with joy, entering. That ocean is not, no emotion, no commotion. Nothing new has happened. Another illustration is the sky. All types of clouds come in. Think of wonderful type of condition when the clouds are all dancing and silvery and rainbows, and the sky remains completely calm, cool, welcomes them all. And then comes another time when there is hurricane type of situation, storms and lots of agitation. Everything seems to be shaken. The sky remains the same, unshaken. These are allegorical way to explain. If you have come to that type of revelation within yourself, that I am, not the ego. Here is a big trouble comes, that one cannot separate the real I am from the ego. And that requires vivek, discriminative knowledge, subtle, purified state of understanding that sees the difference between ego and the real I am. Real I am is absolute self. Real I am is Brahman, God. I am, that am I. I am of all religions of the world. The ego aspect, that's illusory. Day by day, when you go to sleep, you put your ego under a rug. It slips away from you. An ego that gives you all the comfort, all the joy of daily life, is not with you. But you are not missing it at all. Rather, you are relieved. When you wake up, you are recharged. Try to bring that imagery in your mind and allow your mind to, through japa, meditation, prayer, allow your mind to become so calm that you are not thinking of the past, not thinking of the future. But you are as if enfolded by the Divine Mother with her 1,000 arms. All arms are loving arms. No scratching nails. I'm joking. If you can, bhakti movement allows your mind to enjoy that moving away from ego. And jnana movement leads you to further level. That ego is not there. You simply allow yourself, just like you allow yourself to slip into sleep. You allow yourself to transcend your ego. And that transcending the ego in the beginning is an act, an effort. Advanced state, if you are enlightened, it is effortless, sahaj samadhi. It is your reality. But in this movement, it's also important to understand, I've done it many times, two words, sthiti and avastha. Your mind may go into higher levels and you may feel great joy. But don't be fooled. It has gone only for a little short period of time. It is not steady. That's called avastha. Avastha is unsteady state. Attaining any situation, any experience in an unsteady way, it will not stay forever. Sthiti means you have attained that, even though you are shaken by various situations in the world. A tree is shaken, but it has attained its deep-rooted experience. It is firmly rooted, unshaken from its source. So that's called sthita prajna. So sthita prajna, looking at the tree, you may see it is shaking constantly. Where is this sthita prajna? But the shaking tree has more stability The trees that don't shake, and when they shake, they break down. In simple terms, that goal that you want to attain becomes so spontaneous that all other things of the world that were previously reality, things that you like, things that you dislike, they are all impact upon your mind, they are realities. But you are moving towards enlightenment or unenlightened, they are not your realities. Begin to understand they are like dreams. And you simply watch and let them play their role. And simpler message behind it. Facing different situations, challenging circumstances, try to develop a sense of stability. Firstly, the world is an expression of God's Maya. And all things that are around you, all things that happen, they are being controlled by divine hand. Therefore, and that divine hand, that God is your inner source. Whatever you are facing is presented to you on the basis of act of God's love. If you become deeply involved in following the spiritual path, you emerge victorious over challenging situations and find yourself more blessed. Vihaya kaman yah sarvan pumanscharati nispriha nirmamo nirahamkara sa shanti madhigacchati. Having abandoned all desires, he who moves without the feeling of mindness, without egoism, and without craving, attains the supreme peace. The most advanced state, when Sthita Prajna state has been attained, you have reached the climax of all attainments. And it is not an attainment, it is a realization. When cloud moves away, the sun shines, the revelation. When cloud moves away, nobody creates the sun. The sun is already there. Now, in order to attain that state of revelation, three things have to happen. Here the nirmamo nirahamkara. Your ahamata and mamata must move away. Ahamta, this is me. Mamata, this is mine. Remember in the mother worship, he took 9 days to understand this. First 3 days, Durga Devi brought about the removal of mala, gross impurities, based on raga, dvesha, attachment and hatred. That attainment we call nirmal. Next, goddess Mahalakshmi destroyed Mahishasur, the buffalo-headed demon, symbolizing distracted state of subtle desires called vasanas. Vasanas that keep your mind agitated. And the moment you begin to activate it, one works like a buffalo. Even though right path is nearby, but once you have made up your mind, you will not follow the right path. You follow your horns. Hard-headed. That vasana was destroyed by Mahalakshmi. And that's called Nihaspriha. Your Spriha. Spriha is a term of fulfilling your desire with great impatience. It's another way of saying Trishna. It's a variation of kama. Kama is desire for worldly enjoyment. That desire becomes very activated, then it's called spriha. Lakshmi Devi destroyed it, and here the mantra uses the word nispriha. When a sage becomes nirmal, mala is gone, he becomes nispriha, kama is gone, and then third stage, goddess Saraswati destroys Shumbha and Nishubha, a pair of demons. They represent ego and mindness. Nirmamo, Sanskrit word nirmam means without mindness, nothing is mind. Nirahamkara, there is no ego. In other words, when mala, vikshepa and avarana, mala, gross impurities, anger, hate, greed, etc. That gross impurity begins to dissolve as you understand karma yoga and turn your actions into yoga. Everything you do is not just led by your ego, and everything has a purpose. If you are peeling a potato, it's a purpose. Karma yoga. If that spirit of karma yoga has come, your mala is being sublimated, gross impurities. And when your focus goes after purifying your desires, subtle desires, that's done by upasana, bhakti and dhyana, meditation. Together it's called upasana. So you bring in your heart devotional movement and impact of satsanga. That's what the Lakshmi's role is, Mahalakshmi, and go on developing virtuous qualities. Don't be just happy with material things, but try to be happy by seeing that you have strength during adversity. You have control over your tongue under provocation. And you have muck in your ear during the time when you shouldn't hear things. That type of, that's real spiritual enrichment. And then finally, jnana. Jnana is intellect. Intellect, instead of losing all its cleverness over things that are of no use. You can sit on the computer and there's so many things from morning till night. We have picked only a few grains from it. But for what purpose? If it has not given, they are not pursuing a purpose. It is simply misusing your intellectual resources. But when you direct your intellectual resources to understand who am I, what's the nature of the world, what is the goal, then you are coming to jnana movement. When these three begin to operate in your personality, karma yoga, upasana, bhakti and dhyana, and jnana, all four, then you are deeply involved in yoga. They call it integral yoga to make it more simplified. But yoga, proper yoga, contains all these four in a harmonious way. And when you come to a state where all this operates through you without any effort, sahaj, then that's called sthita prajna. Esha brahmi sthiti partha nainam prapya vimuhyati sthitva syamanta kalepi brahma nirvana mrichati. O Arjuna, such is the state of self-realization. Having attained it, a yogi is never deluded. Being established in this state, and the state continues until the death. That state will not waver. Such a soul has attained the absolute state of liberation. Brahma nirvana. There are two ways of interpreting it. Another interpretation is, if one attains that state even towards the time of his death, he attains perfection. Another interpretation, whoever has attained it will continue to maintain it even until the time of death. He will not waver. I'll just quote from a saintly statement of Kabira. हस्ती चढ़िए ज्ञान की सहज दुलीचा डारी स्वप्न रूप संसार है भूकंदे झक मारी. Ride the elephant of wisdom, and sahaja avastha, the spontaneous attainment, is the cushion that goes over the back of the elephant, and sit on it. And watch all the barking dogs. This whole world process is vain bark without any purpose. Just like a dream. So let them bark. Stay on the couch. A divine couch on the heroic elephant of jnana. Om Tat Saditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita Supanishatsu Brahma Vidyayama Yoga Shastra, Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade, Sankhya Yoga Nama, Dvitiyo Dhyaya. Thus, in the Upanishad of the Bhagavad Gita, the knowledge of the Supreme Brahman, the scripture of yoga, the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna, ends the first chapter. Rather, it is second chapter, entitled the yoga, the integral yoga, the yoga of integral wisdom. And the next chapter that we will enter into is called Karma Yoga, more insight into karma, and many others await you. Will be some concluding. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.